The following workshop was made possible through financial support from the National Research Foundation.
Job insecurity is about people who are working at the moment, but who fear that they might lose their job or valued aspects of the job.
So it's not just South Africa where people are suffering from job insecurity. We observe this phenomenon in the higher education sector worldwide. It even spills over into the family, that relationships are broken up because people are experiencing all these negative outcomes of job insecurity. So there is a great need for research in this area and also for raising the awareness of the problem.
To tackle the challenges associated with job insecurity, the Optentia Research Focus Area organised a workshop to provide opportunities for practitioners, researchers and students to have discussions and establish networks on implications of job insecurity for organisations, higher education and future research.
And I think we have a good set of international scholars who will be presenting the latest findings and the newest insights into job insecurity, which of course from one side will inform us quite well about where we are and what we need to do.
I think that we have a lot to learn from each other. So as you know, cultures and societies differ very much in terms of their norms and their values, their beliefs, their expectations, and these different systems of beliefs translate into how they might provide for workers, particularly in times of transition or when there might be pervasive job insecurity.
We live in a globalized world, and that just means that organizations need to have mergers, they need to go through restructuring in order to stay competitive in a globalized world. It's just the way it is. So we are not saying that organizations are bad or people are bad for letting their employees go through these experiences. That's not the case. What we are trying to do is to start the dialogue and then identify together with management who is trying to support the employees, together with employees themselves, to try to identify ways in which people feel more comfortable when they have to go through a process like restructuring, for example.
In the United States, it is completely common, and it always happens, where the first thing that you do when you meet somebody in a social setting is you say, what do you do for a living? What's your job? Do you have a job, right? So if you don't have a job, or if you're working for a company where everybody knows big layoffs are coming, that's a visible stressor. That's something that people know about. And in fact, you hear people talking about individuals who have been laid off. They'll continue to get dressed for work. They'll go to work, pretend like they're actually, like they still have a job because they don't want their family to know.
Job insecurity is about people who are working at the moment, but who fear that they might lose their job or valued aspects of the job. And so that's two definitions of job insecurity. It's about fears or probability, thinking that you might lose it, and it relates to the job as such or becoming unemployed. Or it can also relate to not really losing the job, but being uncertain about the quality of the job and its evolution in the long term. If people are insecure at the workplace, they start distrusting or mistrusting. They do not trust management and the organization anymore. And this is the strongest correlation of all meta-analytical results that I saw.
People are suffering, both in terms of physical complaints, even that arise from the constant anxiety, from the constant stress of experiencing job insecurity, but of course then also mental issues, reduced well-being. It even spills over into the family, that relationships are broken up because people are experiencing all these negative outcomes of job insecurity.
But organizational change creates insecurity, and insecurity in turn reduces the willingness to follow the change or to continue the change. So there is something, of course, created now, a kind of negative spiral that you need to deal with.
So employees, as a function of corruption, might affect who is targeted for potential layoffs, right? Retaining your job might be linked to your ability to offer bribes or other incentives to the organizational decision makers, the people who are deciding who gets laid off, who doesn't. So again, we know that corruption is associated with greater inequality, lower procedural justice, lower trust levels.
As SABPP, we speak to HR managers on a daily basis, and it's a key role for us to also lead and guide the HR managers regarding the knowledge that they need in order to be able to deal with employees on a daily basis. So we would definitely like to become involved and to support Optentia regarding this important program and further research and research to practice, so that the practitioners can have better ideas on how to implement proper interventions.
Organizational, like rumor mills, go crazy during times of organizational transition. But if the company is really careful and proactive about fostering better communication, then we found that those negative reactions didn't have to occur. They were greatly attenuated. So the important thing is that it's not that the companies are magically providing them with more job security. That's not happening. But they're giving them other resources to help them to be able to better cope with that stressor of job insecurity by replacing some of those other latent benefits that otherwise might be threatened.
And I think South Africa in general, if we have more communication, we definitely can solve a lot more problems. I don't know why we don't communicate. We don't even communicate with each other, working in the same institution. It's crazy.